Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today, zooming in on the capacity of a narcissist to engage in a smear campaign, a blackmail, a splitting pursuit, basically designed to uproot you, disrupt you, especially in a employment environment where a superior or a manager, aka a boss, is the narcissist in question. And the manager, the boss, most likely attained this position, being the head honcho in charge, because of their narcissist qualities. Their desire to be above everybody, their desire to have command over other people, their desire to have power, and also manipulate and abuse that power. Now, real quick before we get into the boss topic here, I want to make a very clear distinction. What would you rather have, a boss or an expert? It's a very interesting thing I see nowadays is, everything is, be the boss, it's so boss and everything like that. A boss generally can have a very negative connotation, and someone who carries that title to a degree or to an extreme can very much do this with a desire to manipulate, control, and destroy other people. It's just like a game to them. It's what I would call a cat and mouse game, where the cat seeks to run after and play with and be combative with the weaker, smaller mouse. And then the cat will, bite it and play with it and kind of bat it around. Kind of a disgusting analogy, right? But that's what a narcissist boss is like. They're manipulating their control. They see themselves as different. They see themselves as superior. They see themselves as entitled. And they basically are just misusing their position of power, throwing their weight around, throwing their title around, in order to kind of intimidate, keep an environment of fear, keep an environment that's extremely toxic, very prone to, taking favorites, very unprofessional. And really the disgrace of any organization in the hands of a narcissist, and I do quite a bit of videos on this in terms of, the workplace psychopaths. There's a really great book called Snakes in Suits, which I would highly recommend reading if this is a major issue with you. There are a ton of psychopaths and narcissists in corporate America, corporate organizations, running businesses, in high levels of influence and affluence, and you absolutely positively have to be on guard for these types of people. So one thing to acknowledge is this person is, when you see somebody who is hostile, throwing their title around, forever reminding you that they are the boss. They're not an expert. They're not always knowledgeable. They're not always helpful. They're not always supportive and encouraging great, professional experience for you and giving you, viable means upward in an organization. If anything, they're looking at ways to sabotage. Sabotage meaning to stunt your experience, sabotage meaning to basically get you thrown under the bus. They'll look at and find and create ways to do this. It's very sick, very toxic in those environments, and if you find yourself employed in those situations, absolutely positively look for a route out ASAP. I mean, I would not hesitate to walk out the door from one of those types of organizations, because it's a huge waste of your time, your mental capacity, your mental energy, your spirit. Is extremely disheartening. So what's important to understand about the narcissistic manager or position in a lileadership position is that they will often engage in splitting behavior, which means they will favoritize somebody in the office who shows them up, or who kind of butters them up, or gives them all sorts of valuable data, or pushes the numbers, or just fans their ego, basically. Someone who, and oftentimes that's a very narcissistic type of person, who basically brown noses the narcissist boss. I mean, they just know how to push his narcissist buttons, his ego buttons, and it's just a game that these two are playing. Very unproductive. They're not usually resulting in additional work getting handled. It's just a game that they're playing. So the narcissist in the workplace will engage in blackmailing and a smear campaign where they're designing basically to get you thrown under the bus, speaking bad about you, taking your clients, taking your work, trying to get you in trouble, trying to get you into legal trouble, creating a whole bunch of drama and chaos that generally, you know, is not true. They're looking at ways basically to cause you to be insecure, feel insecure and insubordinate you, so that you feel like basically you're kind of like not doing very well, or you're not secure in your position at your job, and they're looking to ruin your reputation and basically create slander and lies, pathological lies about you. Remember here, guys, that the narcissist is pathological. They have a pathological envy, they have pathological anger, they have pathological hostility, meaning it's a sickness. It's literally, I mean, if you were to put it under a microscope and look at their behavioral patterns, it's very, very destructive, harmful, and it's extremely highly, disordered. So it's pathological, meaning not normal in nature. And if you're in the confines with these types of people, they have a lot of devious ways, including splitting and seeking to create pathological lies about people and just say that to their face. I mean, they literally try to get you hoisted out. It's like they try to steal your position, or get into your files, or get into your computer, or just lie about what you've done at your work in order to get you uprooted and get you thrown out of there. I mean, they will literally try to get you fired. And if you find yourself in this situation, oftentimes, you can take steps to seek to protect yourself. A lot of people do file documentation, call police reports, call the police on people who are being, sexually harassed, emotionally harassed. There are terms if you're, they'll try to get you riled up. If you're creating a hostile workplace, or reducing the productivity of a workplace, those are grounds for dismissal. So they will find ways to, have you, come over here and like gossip about this or check this out. And meanwhile, they're trying to kind of like manipulate you so you can't do your work, and then you're late to your work. You're not missing your deadline on time, and then like next thing you know, it's a snowball, and it's like snowballing up on you. This is very much a narcissist distraction, splitting manipulation tool. It's extremely unprofessional, uncalled for, and if you find you're kind of being victimized in this way, realize that there are laws to protect you in terms of falsifying information about you, purposely getting you into trouble. This is considered, purposely creating a hostile work environment, which you can consult the civil lawyer for this type of situation, because hostile work environment is not tolerated. There are laws meant to protect you. So, for example, if someone is acting out of rage, inappropriate emotions, kicking office furniture, yelling, creating threats, being an intimidation, prejudice, discriminatory behavior. These are all forms of harassment and abuse in the workplace. So if you find yourself victimized by this, you could have a lawsuit on your hands. This could be a legal issue. You absolutely positively need to document dates and times of this sort of situation, because this is harassment. I'm very familiar with this type of stuff, and this is the type of stuff that gets people into big trouble, especially the narcissist. So if you find you've been unfairly treated in the workplace, unfairly fired, look at securing protection. File a police report, a cease and desist order if you find you're receiving harassing texts, threats, damage to your vehicle, damage to your property, damage to your office, damage to your home, calls to your family members. These are all tactics that the abuser, the psychopath, and the narcissist will use in the workplace in order to derail you and get you into all sorts of trouble, legal trouble. You do not want to be involved with these people whatsoever. You don't want to try to, yes, it's good to stand up to them and declare that you're no longer willing to take this, but you have to be careful because, really generally the narcissist, once you stand up to them, a lot of them will back down. I mean, it's kind of like a bully. But if you're in a situation where they're trying to get you fired on purpose because, you're too good or you're too ethical and you're not one of the narcissist crew, then you're better off not even being in that environment anyway. So if they're trying to turn the tables on you, make sure you protect yourself. Make sure that you're entitled to, any position that you have earned and rightfully kept and worked hard towards. But realize that you don't ever have to play into the hands of a narcissist. You have rights protecting you, and make sure you stay on top of those and don't tolerate whatsoever this sort of abuse. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussions, and support.